Greetings everybody and welcome to Skyrim Mod of the Day episode 262, and in this episode I did some digging and found a mod that I sincerely love from the Nexus, and it's extremely close to my heart simply because Oblivion was my real first experience in the Elder Scrolls universe, since most of my subscribers know that, Morrowind didn't really work for me as my PC was terrible at the time, so I couldn't play it. But I remember playing Oblivion the first time and all the way through the game, and there was one feature that was missing from Skyrim that I couldn't put my finger on it. But when I saw this mod, I was like, holy balls, that's the mod that I wanted in the first place. And it is called Face-to-Face Conversation. Now, if you remember,
from a distant land called Elsewhere, bordered on the north by Cyrodiil, and the south by the glistening blue waters of the sea.
That will be the FCO from yesterday, but if you remember, of course, in Oblivion, if you talk to an NPC, whether in first person or third person, the camera would zoom in up to their face, real nice and close, so you could kind of concentrate on the conversation. And it was a feature I used to love, rather than in Skyrim where it doesn't work like that. But as soon as I saw it, I remembered it and I was like, oh yes. Now I'll show you right now with Kajjo, for example. If I talk to him, you notice how the camera instantly zooms into his face, just like Oblivion. It's pretty much the goddamn same, to be honest. And you now can concentrate on the character you're talking to and actually see the details on their armors and their face much better. And you'll notice it automatically switched me into first person there, as opposed to simply staying in third. But that is an option, which I will go through in a second. And you see it nicely zooms back out, so it's not annoying either, it just works perfectly. And I was going to find a vendor, yes here he is.
Finest cuts, fresh from the wilds.
Now you see, we can see the nice HG beards, HG face, HG hair, all that stuff. While normally we wouldn't really see it, even when we're actually viewing it in first person, you wouldn't really see it. Now let me go and show you the mod configuration menu real quick. And here we are. You will notice you can change the FOV based on distance of the NPC, and it works in the realm of units. So here we are, 50 units, all the way up to over 150 units. And the author has already predetermined the FOVs, which you can change, but I have tested this and I recommend you don't, because these FOVs are pretty much spot on. And seriously, that FOV for 150 units is definitely correct, because FOV 20 is quite close, put it that way, it's really close. We've got the camera control time. From what I've tested, it basically shows how fast it zooms in and out. Tracking is a feature I will show you in a second. It was defaulted off, but I do prefer it on for the reason I will tell you in a second. Auto switch first person, of course, you want that on really. As it says there, if it's disabled, you can use a smooth zoom for third person, but the camera position may not be correct. But when I tried it, it did work. I just don't prefer it compared to what I was used to in Oblivion. We've also got this, which doesn't tell you what it does, but I believe it just disables the mod, because I've tried it on point of view and it's like vanilla Skyrim, to be honest. So for example, let me go on point of view and show you what it's like talking to a normal vendor, as you'll know yourself. It still switches to first person if you've got the option selected. If you turn the first person switch off, it's totally disabled, of course. But you'll notice this is what normal Skyrim's like. You talk to an NPC in first person, this is what you see. I mean, God, which is better? I prefer the zoomed in face. I just do, because you can see you can't see no detail from this distance. Anyway, back in the MCM, I will switch that son of a gun back on. Now, if you don't auto switch to first person,
I've got the freshest meat in all of Whiterun.
The effect still works fairly well. For example,
the plains outside Whiterun are ripe with game.
I was too close actually viewing my character there, so sorry about that. If I go to about here, you see the effect still works. Well, I don't like it personally, but it still works well. You can see your character and everything else,
If anyone sneaks up on us,
and it still zooms in on the NPCs fairly well. It's certainly better than vanilla, but I don't prefer it compared to the first person option, which of course I believe is king of the hill.
What? Why are you looking at me?
You see, that was a perfect example of the tracking feature. It didn't work as well as I've previously tested, but it still worked, it still zoomed in. The point is with the tracking feature, of course, if the NPC is moving or even moves during conversation for some reason, it will track and follow them. So it was disabled by default, but I prefer it on, otherwise they're going to walk off screen, of course. And it works pretty well normally, besides that attempt. But I'm finding it hard to actually get a possibility working right now. Let's try it with... You see, it zoomed in as she was walking and got right on her. Perfect. Anyway, that is it for this mod. I think it's a great addition to the game, especially if you loved Oblivion and your first experience was Oblivion like mine. So go and endorse it if you like it. Thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you all next time.